Brett Sockold here, helping you make every class Catholic. When I work with teachers on this, some teachers are gung-ho right away. They want to do this, approach every subject from a Catholic point of view. But other teachers offer some hesitations. And I want to encourage us to recognize that the hesitations, the first two hesitations teachers usually offer are actually worthy hesitations, and they should be commended for their hesitations. And so I want to offer in today's video just a couple thoughts on what curriculum permeation or Catholic academic integration is not. We're not asking teachers to do a couple things that they rightly worry we might be asking. So let's take them in turn. The first one is teachers are rightly concerned that we might artificially tack on some Catholic content sort of wherever we can, no matter how poorly it fits with the subject area, right? And so it wouldn't be hard to come up with really artificial sort of Catholic content in like a math class where you just make all your word problems about like Catholic stuff, you know, five decades in a rosary, 5 times 10 is 50, you know. You could do that kind of thing relatively easily, but if you did it, and especially if it felt less integrated to you, it's gonna start to build resentment in your audience. Students don't appreciate something that doesn't hold together and cohere. If it feels artificial and forced to the teacher, it's almost certainly gonna feel artificial and forced to the students. So what we're not asking teachers to do is just tack on anything to check a Catholic box on the lesson plan in a way that's not well integrated. And so when I work with teachers, we work on developing a sense of their subject and their grade level so that they view whatever they're teaching within a holistic Catholic framework. And once that's there, things start to appear more naturally. Now, I don't want this to sound like you shouldn't try things, right? If you want to give something a try and then evaluate how it works, you know, if it's not a perfect fit every time, there's room for trial and error and growing through experience. So I don't want to like shut people down, but what I do want to tell teachers is trust your gut. You know yourself, you know your students. If you think it's going to feel artificial to you or to them, pull the chute. Don't go with it for that day. Sit, think more, consult with a colleague, do some reading, do something else that helps you come up with ideas that feel more integrated. So that's the first one. The second one, and this is often high school science teachers, not exclusively, but they're the first ones to make this objection, and they're right to do so. This objection is, my science class is a science class, it's not a theology class, right? And they're right. Catholic academic integration does not mean that every single class becomes theology class so that theology provides all the answers to all the questions that are rightly dealt with according to the subject's own particular methodologies. English class is still English class, math class is math class, science class is science class, and science questions deserve science answers. But notice, there are questions about language or about math or about science that aren't language or math or science questions. If a student asks you, why should I study math? They're not asking a math question, but it is right and just to deal with that question in a math class. What does math mean for my life? A teacher told me in Winnipeg a few weeks ago that a student asked one day, who invented math? Well, that's not a math question, but it's a fascinating question about what humans and math have to do with one another, how the human encounter with creation shows up in math, right? It could be a very rich conversation in math class that would have a very particular Catholic point of view, but it's not a math question. Same thing in science. You know, if you watch the news, this is a few years ago now, but there were court cases about teaching creationism in science class. And the Catholic experts on the stand in the court cases were actually against teaching creationism. And the reason that the Catholic experts were against this is because they were respecting the methodological independence of science. Creationism is a way to give a science question a theology answer, and a bad theology answer at that. But it's a methodological confusion. And so in a Catholic science class, we're going to give science questions, science answers, but we're also going to be attuned to the other kinds of questions about the meaning of science for human flourishing, what the human exploration of the natural world means about us and our relationship with God, about the beauty and order of creation. All these kinds of questions rightly inform teaching science in a Catholic school, but they should never transgress upon properly methodological scientific considerations. So if those were your concerns about this idea that you should teach your class from a Catholic point of view, I want to say you're right. You're right. It shouldn't be artificial. It shouldn't be contrived. And it certainly should respect the methodological independence of your particular specialization. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, why not share it and help someone else make every class Catholic?